Wake up. Wake up.
Oh hey, didn't see you there. Today, I got invited to a party. Can you show me where the party is? No, not there, you fucking stupid. That's right! The house! Oh, hey, my friends. They must be having a party without me. In reality, I have severe schizophrenia, and my psychosis grows every single day.
Alright.
What do we got cooking up here, everyone? What? Where is everyone? What is this? A book? Historical inaccuracies. The musket? The saber? Shade? Why is Shade in the historical inaccuracy section? Is Shade dead?
Did anyone say I was dead? You confuse me.
Shade, you're alive!
I would ask you why you're crying, but the better question is, why are you reading a book?
In this book of historical inaccuracies, you're listed here.
It's because I am historically inaccurate. I am not real.
That's crazy. Billy said the same thing.
Who is Billy?
He's right next to me. You see him?
Tater tots are crunchy munchy.
I'm starting to wonder if I feel safe around you.
I say we explore more of these historical inaccuracies. Follow me, gang.
I ate a rat on the floor today.
I'm only doing this because I'm bored, just so you know.
The amount of mentally deranged psychos I meet in G&B who splatter everything with it being historically accurate makes me want to commit multiple crimes of homicide within this population. For legal reasons, I am just joking. I thought today would be the perfect day to go ahead and actually learn the historical inaccuracies that this game has to offer. Believe it or not, but there is a whole page on the G&B wiki, which we will be checking out today, on all of these anachronisms, from the name of the game to weapons, uniforms, maps, and some other shit. If you do enjoy this video, then make sure to leave a like. For some reason, the YouTube mob pushes out content more when it gets tampered with, sort of like a reverse drug bust. While Guts and Blackpowder is based on the real history of the Napoleonic Wars, the game takes liberties to provide more fun gameplay at the expense of historical accuracy. Some of these inaccuracies are made out of convivia. Did this word just get made 5 days ago? Merriam-Webster? Fitness or suitability for performing an action or fulfilling a requirement. I don't know what that means. Anyways, let's continue. This page will focus on highlighting some of the historical inaccuracies present in the game for fun, and to anyone who may be interested. Like us! It turns out the name of the game is inaccurate itself, with the term Blackpowder not even being used during this time period. Rather, the word gunpowder would have been used. The term Blackpowder only came into use during the late 19th century to distinguish old gunpowder and smokeless powder. Gunpowder is composed of potassium nitrate, sulfur, and charcoal, and modern smokeless powder uses a different formula, hence the distinction. We are not making C4 bombs here. I don't need no FBI knocking on my door. To be honest, I didn't even know there were 2 types of powder to begin with, and there could even be more. And if I hear anyone say white powder referring to coke, I will murder you.
White powder.
All right, who said that? The weapons category. We have a total of 10 weapons in the game, excluding objective weapons and utilities. And if we take a look at the weapons section here, there are 6 weapons listed here along with grenades. That is over half of the weaponry in the game, is what an uneducated simpleton would say. If we inspect the fine print, most of the descriptions for the weapons listed here talk about them not being used by specific nations and whether or not the models are different. Not that it wasn't used at all during said time. A good example would be the musket, the most used firearm of the period. In G&B, it is modeled after the British Brown Bess. And in the wiki, historically, every nation and army had their own model of musket, and the Brown Bess was only used by the British. France would have used the model 1777, the Prussians would have used the model 1809, and the Austrians would have used their model 1798 infantry musket. And the bayonet on the musket also has a passage here saying, bayonets wouldn't have always been fixed on a musket. They would have been fixed before a command to charge or form a square. A weapon similar to this would be the carbine. The carbine is also modeled after the Aget carbine, whereas each nation would have their own model of carbine. And in the game, we can use the carbine on the infantry class, but the carbine itself was used by the cavalry during the Napoleonic Wars. Wars, and not by the infantry because of the shorter barrel, which made the gun less accurate. The knot gun. It turns out this gun was designed and sold to the British Royal Navy in 1780, and then proceeded to be adopted into service 2 years later by the Royal Navy, equaling out to 655 purchases of this weapon overall. By 1804, it was phased out of service because of its very powerful recoil, and uselessness after firing because of its 7 barrels requiring a very lengthy reload. While it did see limited civilian purchases, it was not produced on a large scale. Inside of the game, you can purchase the knot gun and use said weapon with any regiment, even if they are not British. This weapon would have been very unlikely for anyone to own, especially outside of the United Kingdom. Oh yeah, also, its reload in the game is much faster than it would actually take. Reloading this would be difficult for people with ADHD. The blunderbuss. The blunderbuss also relates to the knot gun here, how it was mainly used by a specific party. These firearms were used during boarding of enemy vessels because they were well suited to the cramped spaces of a ship, and the blunderbuss was also used by civilians for self-defense purposes. Everything else in the description here just poops on this weapon. Not only did the carbine replace its ass in the navies during the mid-19th century, but it was not issued to any infantry or cavalry units, unlike how it is depicted in the game. So far, it looks like the firearms in the game would have mainly been used by a particular branch, regiment, nation, or would have just been replaced overall. It turns out we get a lot of a sandbox use in the game with the weapons. Pikes and lances were indeed used in the Napoleonic Wars, but the former would have been issued to militia of poor countries, such as Prussia and Russia, and as the spontoon. Spontoon? What the f is a spontoon, fam? What? This shit looks like Poseidon's eating utensil. In a nutshell, it's just half of a pike, even being referred to as a half pike. It was issued to British sergeants in a symbolic role rather than a practical role. Pikes would not have been used by line infantry because of the bayonet being more practical, and the reason that was said is because the pike can only be accessed in the game under the infantry class. Lances were used by lancer cavalry units on all sides of the Napoleonic Wars, but likely would have only been used on horseback, unlike how it is depicted in game. There is a way to fix that. Let's add some horses to the game. Oh yeah! For those who do suggest this, it would be cool on certain maps, but guys, it would be completely useless to ride a horse in this game. Just think about it. Pikes and lances are also not interchangeable. While they are both polearms, their length is what differs. Pikes are much longer than lances because they were employed against cavalry by infantry. I'm gonna be completely honest with you guys. I still have no idea what the lancer subclass is in the game. I just tell people I use the pike, and yeah, that's it. That is it. There's nothing else to it. The most used weapon in GMB is up next, in my opinion. Infantry rankers in the game are depicted with sabers, while historically, most rankers did not carry them, and the bayonet was instead much more practical. Every single class can use the saber besides the chaplain. He likes to play with sticks for some reason. But if we are on historically accurate terms, the infantry class should not be using it. That one surprises me the most. And like the musket, the saber also had their own model for each nation. The last item listed under the weapons category are the grenades. And to keep it short and sweet, these were normally not used in battles during the Napoleonic Wars, but rather sometimes employed during sieges. They weren't regularly issued to grenadiers. The title grenadier was purely honorific by the period, and the definition of honorific is given as a mark of respect, but having few or no duties. He said duty. So grenades had nothing to do with the grenadier role, which I think is comical. Did someone say Vardøhus Fortress? No? Well, let's go over it anyways. This map was the first objective map added into the game. It is also the only objective map with no respawns because of how small it is. Your primary goal of escape consists of reloading a cannon to shoot down a cell containing shovels, which are then used to dig a path through the snow to reach a dock. Players will then activate the lighthouse to start a horde of the undead, to which you have to survive while you wait for the undaunted crew to save you. If you're interested in who the undaunted crew is, then I suggest you check out my Blight lore video. Vardøhus Fortress is not located as closely to the sea as depicted in-game, and the chapel in the map was not built until after the Napoleonic Wars. It's also unlikely that any British vessel would be sailing near the island. So they pretty much just roasted the whole objective point to this map. The miscellaneous category consists of various classes, equipment, and items, and the first one we're going to go over is the drums. While every nation did employ the use of snare drums for communication and maintaining step during marches, each nation would have their own designs on their drums, instead of every single one looking identical to to every other nation's drums. The drum can be purchased in Bubble Shop and used in the musician class. Its main purpose is to boost the swing speed for all surrounding teammates. I'm not gonna lie, I've never strictly looked at the drum, so I wouldn't have noticed this either way. But it is interesting to know that there would be different designs for it. Perhaps they could implement another store category alongside Bubbles where you could unlock different designs for things if you reach a certain goal, level, or even achievement. It would definitely boost the playtime for people, and it's just another neat thing for players to grind for. Let me know what you guys think about that in the comment section down below. Sappers are historically inaccurate. Holy shit! In-game, sappers are depicted as only being equipped with a hammer and a sapper's axe. But historically, sappers carried a variety of weapons and tools, and would have been equipped with a musket and a bayonet. I can see why they changed it in the game, because the sapper would strictly be a one-up to the infantry if it were historically correct here. And the whole building focus the sapper provides makes it a unique class in general. Alongside the sappers here, we have Prussian grenadiers and sappers. It is implied that Prussian infantry regiments have sappers picked from grenadier companies, similar to France. But in reality, Prussia did not regularly have grenadier companies within battalions, which instead were separate battalions from Fusilier and Musketeer battalions. Pioneers fulfilled a similar role to sappers in the Prussian army, but would have been part of their own companies. I don't know what any of that just meant. Cocked hats and tricorns. Okay, alright, here we go. Here we go. The Napoleon-era drip. Cocked hats, or how they were known later in the 19th century, the tricorn, are worn by zombies in-game, supposed civilians who were victims of the Blight. But the cocked hat had fallen out of fashion by the 19th century. Alright, so we're just cooking the shamblers now? In a nutshell, the zombies have fake J's. The last big topic here is the uniforms. But if I'm being real, guys, I really don't give a hoot. There are a lot of people I've seen who genuinely get angry that some outfits are incorrect. I see outfits in-game as purely for cosmetic purposes to make our character flashy from others. I don't really care what is historically inaccurate about it, unlike the weapons, maps, and items that we went over. So I'm not gonna cover that. But if you guys are interested, here are the outfits and what is historically inaccurate about them. And that is all we have for today. This is a bit of a longer video, but if you made it this far, then comment real one so I can see all of the people who fulfilled their daily content intake. But anyways, guys, that's gonna be it for me. My name's JMT, and I will see you in the next one. Peace out, guys.